I've been in the high ticket sales space for the last 3 years, generated multiple six figures from being in this space, and it's completely transformed my life since I've been at university, right? I'm 21 years old now. I didn't have to apply for any grad jobs or anything like that. I didn't have to go down the route of being an accountant in finance. I just went all in with high ticket sales. And although I've been in this space for 3 years, 2026 is by far the biggest year and the breakout year for high ticket sales, because a lot of you might have not heard of high ticket sales before. You might have heard about the normal, the drop shipping, the trading, the kind of the bog standard ones. But high ticket sales is quite a niche thing. And I genuinely believe if you don't jump on high ticket sales in 2026, the opportunity will probably be gone very soon, right? And if you're one of these things, I think this specifically applies more to you. So if you're a young guy, so from the ages of like 18 to 25, I'd say, it's probably the perfect age to get into high ticket sales. If you have a job that you hate, so you're working a 9 to 5 that you've been working at for a couple of years, or you're in uni and you don't like what you're doing, or even worse, both, right? Obviously, I was in university doing accounting and finance, and I also worked in some jobs that I hated. So, for example, just to name a few off, McDonald's, River Island, Nando's, I hated those jobs, and I just didn't like the position where my life was at. You've tried side hustles before. So like I mentioned earlier, you might have tried trading, you might have tried drop shipping, you might have tried reselling, and maybe you made some money on it. Maybe you've made some money off it, but obviously you're not where you want to be with them. You might have just doing them on the side, you might have fell off, you might not have given it all. You've tried these things before, because when I say you've tried things before, if you've tried things before, you obviously have more ambition than the average person, because not everybody has tried making money online. And ultimately, the biggest and most important factor is you want financial freedom, right? And I think people get confused, financial freedom, because financial freedom is just one aspect of freedom that you desire. Because financial freedom would mean just the ability to pay for things without having to think, like the ability to just not have to worry about finances. And to be honest, I was on the trajectory of that. I was doing accounting and finance. I was, en route. I was pretty smart, so maybe I could have landed a top 4 accountancy firm grad role, and in like 5-6 years be making 100 grand a month, which for a lot of people would say is financial freedom. You can pay for nice things, you can treat your mum, you can do all these nice things, but that's not the lifestyle I wanted, because I would have to work like 70 hours a week or some shit, or have to work in the office every single day. So a lot of people also want location freedom and time freedom. So this is like being able to work whenever. So not at a certain time, on a certain day, on a certain time zone, because Stacey, my boss, has told me to. You want to be able to work when you want, when it suits you. If you've got a birthday party tomorrow, you can wake up super early, get all the work done early, and then go to the birthday party, right? But a lot of people also want that location freedom. So be able to travel, be able to work from different countries. So like for a bit of credentials, last year I went to 10 different countries, including Thailand, including Australia, Japan, Turkey, Greece, Vietnam, like loads of different countries. And I was able to work in every single one of these different countries. So ultimately, I have all three. I'm able to make multiple 6 figures a year. I'm able to earn from wherever and whenever, because I picked up high ticket sales, right? I think at all times you should definitely have 2 of these things. Ask yourself, how many of these things does your job provide you, right? So, high ticket sales. You're probably thinking, what is high ticket sales? I've never heard about it. Why have I never heard about it before? And why is 2026 the year it's going to be blowing up, right? So for a bit of context, before I got into high ticket sales, this was my life, right? I was 18 years old. I was at university. I was studying accounting and finance, like I said, and I was just on the wrong path. Like, coming into this, I didn't have any sales experience, so I'd never worked in a sales job before. Obviously, I'd worked in retail and shit like that, but are we counting that? Probably not. I'd never made money online. I'd made like a couple of £1,000s from reselling, like here and there, when the Jordans and the Yeezys were hyped. I didn't have a lot of free time, so I was at university full time, and I was also playing semi-pro football, and I also was a bit degenerate, going out on the weekends and stuff like that. So I didn't have unlimited amount of time. It's not like I jumped in full time. And my trajectory wasn't aligned with my goals, and this is the most important one. So I had goals of being successful, not working 9 to 5, and just being financially free. But my trajectory was on the path to becoming a corporate NPC. So I was on the path to becoming a corporate NPC in an accountancy firm, because that's what I was doing at university. And like, what's the alternative? I finished university with this accountancy degree, then what? I don't just suddenly become the guy. The alignment wasn't there, but I still had these goals. So this is the biggest thing that changed. I had to actually change my trajectory, change the path that I was on to make sure I was going to my goals. Say this is my goal. My trajectory is currently going this way, which is corporate NPC, financially free. Something had to change, and it had to be the input, right? So what is high ticket sales, and why is this year going to be the breakout year? So high ticket sales, I'm just going to write HTS as a simplified version. So what this is simple enough. You're an online salesman. So there's two variations of high ticket sales. There is setters and closers, right? And they can both work together. So what a setter is basically, think of any influencer. So trading coach, think of like rent to rent, real estate, fitness coaches, any coach online or anyone that sells anything expensive online. Think about it. If they've got a lot of followers, if they make a lot of money, do you think they have time to be in their DMs? Do you truthfully think they have time to be replying to DMs and they're actually the ones messaging you? No, obviously not. So what you are as a setter is you're replying to these DMs. You're simply replying to the DMs. Obviously, there's sales techniques you use to make sure that you're being efficient and you're squeezing the most out of them. But your sole responsibility is to message people on Instagram. That is your sole responsibility. That's all you have to do. So imagine you've got a trading coach and he sells a £3,000 trading group, right? He's got 100,000 followers, so he's getting loads of messages every single day. So what you'd do, you'd go into his Instagram and you'd be replying to these people that are potentially interested in paying for this £3,000 program, right? So what you'd do is you'd book them onto calls. So you'd book a call. Thinking, who do I book a call with? Book a call, right? This is where we go back up to the closers. The closers is the one that takes the calls. So all you're doing here, you're messaging, you're replying to DMs. The closer is the one taking the calls and actually selling to the people. So the people that you've been speaking to in the DMs, he's selling to the people. So he's running them through the course. He's running them through the program. He's basically showing them and making them a decision whether they want to do it or not. So think of it like a car salesman. Let's say they work for the car dealership. You go to the car dealership and there's a guy taking you around the car, taking you for a test drive. That's what a closer is. So an online car salesman. That's what I like to call a closer. Truthfully, you can make money with both. Like I've done both. I started off as an appointment setter. Made £5,000 a month within my first 3 months of doing appointment setting. And I transitioned to closing after that. And I also made £5,000 a month with closing. Truthfully, you can make money with both. But for me, setting is easier. Is easier. Especially if you're someone that doesn't have sales experience. Because think about it like this. If you're a closer, you're solely responsible for all the money the business makes. Solely responsible, because if they don't pay you, then the business doesn't get paid. Whereas setting, you can just book so many calls. You don't even have to do the selling. Like you actually don't have to do the selling. You don't have to actually make the decision, but you still get commissions from it. So how you get paid on booking this £3,000 lead, if he sells, you get 10% commission. So what you do is you'll get £300 for simply just replying to DMs and booking that call. And you can imagine, these guys that have got loads of followers, they're getting so many messages. So imagine if you can book 5 calls a day. 5 calls a day. Imagine, obviously not all of them pay, but let's say half of them pay. Let's say let's say less than half. 2 of them pay. 2 pay. So that's £300 times 2. Well, that's £600 in a day for replying to DMs. Think about how crazy that is. And the reason why 2026 is the biggest year is because everybody is selling shit online. Think about how many people you've seen alone that sell courses or sell expensive shit online. Sell expensive shit. Because every single one of these people, whether they know it or don't, could use an appointment set or use a closer. So imagine you become good at this skill. Imagine you're like the top appointment set. Imagine you're the top closer. You can make a shit ton of money. Because the people that don't know about it, there's money on the table there. Because you're an absolute expert at replying to DMs. That is all you know. So you're going to come into the DMs and make them more money that they wouldn't have made anyway. So of course you could help them. And of course someone's going to hire you because you're mainly on commission only. And of course, when people are selling expensive shit, the commissions are nice. So the reason why 2026 is the biggest opportunity is because the online coaching industry is the biggest it's ever been. So coming in now it's at the biggest, shows you're going to have the most opportunity. There's not always going to be a time where appointment setting, like we said in high ticket sales at the start of the video, is going to be under the radar. There's going to be a point where there's an influx of people. So if you get in now and you get really good now, you make sure you do everything to get really good at sales now, then of course you can make a lot of money with it. But there's going to be a time where there's too many good sales reps. That is just too competitive. But if you get in now and you get super good before there's too many good sales reps, you're always going to be at the top of the market. Make sure you're at the top of the market, because if you're elite, you will always be in demand. So this is about getting in early enough to make sure you become elite before it gets oversaturated. Because if you ask yourself, what went wrong with dropshipping? What went wrong with trading? What went wrong with reselling? 9 times out of 10, yeah, you might not put all the work in, but you got in too late. You followed the trend. So if you can do this before it's the trend, you can become super successful in this. And this is the biggest opportunity I've genuinely seen this year. So if you're like me, who before had no sales experience, you'd never made money online, you didn't have a lot of free time, your trajectory wasn't aligned with your goals, and you know what I mean, you hate your job, you hate your life, you hate uni, you hate the people around you, then maybe 2026 could be the breakout year for you as well. Just maybe, if you give it your everything to becoming an absolute expert in this field like I did, then maybe this will be your breakout year as well. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you take some value from this. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. See you in a bit, boys.